watch the tide roll by, walking side by side on the sand. We can hold each other near at the pleasure pier, that would be so nice. Baby, we could stroll along the Gulf of Mexico tonight.
We're here with Kevin Anthony, a singer-songwriter from Galveston. But you've been all over the country playing all different kinds of music. How would you best sum up your career to this point?
I guess a good word would be a renaissance person as far as music. I love all kinds of music. I happen to be really fond and have a close liking for country music and Cajun music is what I'm doing now. But I like all kinds of music. I've dabbled in different types of things. I've been in the bands in high school, rock bands, which are for better or worse, sometimes worse, playing around, playing covers. I had a career for a couple of years as doing electronic music, breakbeat music in New York City. I kind of pursued that for a while, and then I'm kind of back doing this now, which is organic instruments, and I like that part about it because you have to actually play things and get an immediate response and reaction to things.
Well, and that's an interesting evolution that you made, born on Galveston Island and lived in New York City and Minnesota, and I mean, right there, that sort of makes you different from a lot of people. But like, where do you think your heart lies when it comes to music?
What I'm doing now, which is writing songs in this genre, which is a little bit of Cajun flavor from Louisiana, a little bit of Southeast Texas kind of flavor, and kind of mixing those two together in a song structure. And that's where I really like that. I like the old references and the classic country stuff from the 60s and 70s, the songwriting and the singing. And I like the rhythm and stuff from the Cajun music, and just the expressiveness of it. I try to mix those two together and get my own sound.
What do you think drew you to that? Like your earliest music influence, or the thing that piqued your interest?
Well, growing up in Galveston, my parents liked to go to dances, so we would always go to different dance halls where my parents would dance. Me and my brother would hang out and look at the bands and everything. And usually they were country bands. We get a lot of. Sometimes I remember seeing P.B. Kershaw was a fiddle player from Louisiana, and he'd play, and this fiddle would break strings, and rosin would be flying over the place. So as a kid, I really was fascinated by the whole pageantry of all that stuff, and the people dancing, and just that kind of stuff, and the influence. So as I got older, as I mentioned before, it's kind of hard to stick with that with your peers, because you're not exactly cool by liking that music. So I do like the music, but it definitely was my parents' and my grandparents' music. I did like it, so I kind of went on to other musical things like rock. You want to buy a guitar, you get in a rock band, you play the cover stuff or whatever. So I was doing that, but I still maintain a liking for that all the time, and that's where that comes from. My first influences of that, being exposed to it around this area.
And so when you're writing songs, how do you like to write? What's your process?
I write songs on the guitar. I find I get, because of I love electronics and the way we can record things now, but at the same time I get kind of distracted, so I have to limit myself. So I just have a guitar and some paper and a pencil, and I really just have to sit myself down in a place that has no distractions and just focus just on what's between me and the instrument. That's the best way because I've been through all the other avenues where you can write music on the computer and use the but I just get 6 hours later, nothing gets done, and I'm playing around with stuff and looking up stuff on Google searches and everything else. So that's what happens to me.
And what about like subject matter? Like what inspires you? Say the last few songs you've written. What inspired those?
Well, a lot of stuff is like personal. Sort of going through things. That's a classic theme. I like to write a lot about family and events and fun times. I have a song I was working on. I just finished. The Pleasure Pier just got built in Galveston, so I was writing a song that was kind of trying to sum up the whole experience there with the new excitement of the Pleasure Pier and the sunsets and over Galveston and sunrises and that kind of stuff. I try to write a lot of stuff that has to do with geographically this area and kind of put them in there in the context and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and you just had a son, right? So
yeah.
8 months old.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
His name is Wyatt.
Wyatt. Nice.
Yeah.
And has he inspired songs?
Yeah, I wrote a song for him before he was born. It's called "Can't Wait to Meet You," and I wrote that. I haven't. It's going to be on my new album, so I have everything kind of demoed up, but I haven't really finished everything yet because I got a little busy with him with between things, you know. So I'm trying to juggle things.
And you mentioned the pageantry of the old, well, you know, past generations may have been more into that. But so for you, was it seeing those guys on stage, or women and men on stage, or like, what do you think made you want to be on stage? Or do you? I mean, do you want to be on stage?
I do. I like to be on stage. It's exciting, you know. It's like immediate, you know, immediate gratification. You play a song, you get a reaction one way or the other. I like that part about it, you know, and I liked the fact it's exciting to see these bands, or I still get excited about bands, you know, going to concerts and even local bands, just seeing how audiences interact with the music and where the music kind of can take you in different places, and you know, I just like the energy of that, with the musicians playing together and then people interacting with the musicians and getting the responses and that kind of stuff. I think it's a fascinating kind of ebb and flow. So.
Well, and being an electronically savvy, I guess, person, how do you think today's, you know, YouTube, iTunes, and you know, downloads, and just the internet in general, do you think it's a negative impact on music, or a positive one, or what's your?
I think it's both. I think that the part I'm most excited about, having been through the mill with the record industry, is that it levels the playing field. So no other point in history have we had that situation. You had, if you were an artist, you have an idea of music, you can go to your computer and you can create it and you can share it with your friends, and you don't need the channel of distribution which record labels offer. You can post it on any websites and start selling your music. Without even making a CD, you can just have it available for download. And I think it's a fascinating thing. It actually, like I said, levels the playing field, because that brings more variety to sometimes it's stagnant. Because if you're dictated to by radio what's cool and what by the charts, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on there that you would never be able to hear about. And because of the internet and technology, it allows that. And at the same time, I think it makes music more disposable, because if you're able to download something, or actually download for free, and maybe you may or may not pay for it, it kind of makes it less important, less tangible, or so less exciting, you know, as opposed to like having to go and purchase an album, or you know, the accessibility is it's great, but it's also kind of a problem in that aspect, because it makes it more disposable. I guess my point with that is. The thing about being independent, you can do what you want. I mean, it does have downsides. I mean, the biggest thing that record labels offer is a marketing distribution, you know, the channels I was talking about. But as far as creative stuff, you can do whatever you want if you're an independent artist. Like I said, you know, you can create an album, fantastic album with you and your friends or your band, and you can post it right away. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anything at all. You can go on tour, you know. There are some positive aspects to the record label thing. It depends on what you're looking for, you know. In my case, it worked. You know, it was fine. It was a couple-year deal, and we did a lot of records, put them out. And the only problem was with us, we were an artist that they were on the roster with a bunch of other artists, so we didn't get any promotion at all. So there's a downside for that too. And then you can't really do your promotion, because it's, you know, it's like this cycle. So your record comes out, but you don't have anything behind it. So that's what happens sometimes. And
you mentioned too, you're starting a jam, if you will, at Crow's and somewhere else.
Yeah, well, it starts tomorrow at Crow's, but I'm also doing every second, fourth Friday at the Riptide, and it's called Hootenanny Happy Hour, and it's place where musicians, I'm going to be playing music, but if you're a musician, you can come by and you can sit in, do your rendition of some old classic country or whatever, blues or whatever you want to do. And it's just a real small setting. I used to do like a 2 or 3 piece band, and we kind of just song swap, you know, and trying to get musicians together and kind of get a little scene happening to interchange with ideas, that kind of stuff.
And when we were talking earlier about that too, you seem to have, you know, a little more of a conscious agenda about kind of what you'd like to see happen as a result of it. It's not just getting people together to jam and drink beer. It's you're trying to achieve some. And what is that? How would you articulate?
I'm trying to just create. We, you know, basically going back, we live in a unique geographic area, and it's Galveston, Houston area, and we have a unique crossroads of all kinds of stuff, and food and culture and music and everything. And for some reason, we're not really latching on to the uniqueness of the identity. And there's no central. Well, there are lots of things going on. I'm just trying to, in the Galveston area at least, I'm just trying to create a scene, music scene of musicians, so that we can all kind of function and interact together and kind of pool all of our energy together in one place, you know. And then the exchange of ideas, the exchange of music and that kind of stuff, just to bring the caliber up and just say, hey, we're here, we have a unique sound, this is who we are as far as a community, and we're just as viable as Houston, or just as viable as Austin, or just as viable as Los Angeles or New York.
Do you think you'll come back to all, like you've left and come back and left and come back? Do you keep coming back to Galveston? I mean, is this, what's your BOI?
Yeah,
allegiance?
I'm here to stay. So you know, I've been away from home for a long time, so I'm back here to stay, and I'm just trying to set up myself to, you know, perform my music and kind of find a balance and that kind of stuff. And if I can contribute to a larger scene, quote unquote scene, I'd like to be able to do that too.
So this is where you'd like to raise your son.
Yeah, I think it's a unique place, and you know, want him. I also have a daughter too, a 9-year-old stepdaughter, but I want them to be able to experience what I experienced and just the uniqueness of this place, you know.
Nice. Well, great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Would you play a song?
Yeah,
awesome.
Sure. I got a little tune I was working on. Okay. Well, here's a little song I wrote after seeing the Pleasure Pier open. It's called Strolling. The sun is sinking low, we can take a little stroll in the evening. We can watch the tide go by, walking side by side on the sand. We can hold each other near at the Pleasure Pier, that would be so nice. Baby, we could stroll along the Gulf of Mexico tonight. When the sun is sinking low, we can take a little stroll in the evening. We can walk along the sand, holding hand in hand almost tight. We can hold each other near at the Pleasure Pier, that would be so nice. Baby, we could stroll along the Gulf of Mexico tonight. Yeah, baby, we could stroll along the Gulf of Mexico tonight.